I foresaw a tremendous turning point. The Credential is the mark of destiny. Though the ancient Star Alliance has vanished, its remaining rules still function. You have now stepped onto the edge of that broken system. The Forest people also longed to obtain the Credential, but failed. Congratulations. The fragments of the ring seem to resonate with the aura of your civilization. Thanks to you. Especially Yaya's resonance and Luo Yu's warning. We need to utilize the newly acquired technology to quickly strengthen the train. Observer sequence and the silver feather. It won't wait for us long. The new technological blueprint is being rapidly put into application. The second-generation enhanced frigates are beginning to upgrade to nebula-adapted types, equipped with new shields and weapons. The biological laboratory, using gene-inducing fluid and the forest people's plant spirit technology, is beginning to attempt to cultivate stronger and more adaptable crops. The engineering department is researching low-side-effect soldier physical enhancement agents and is using active memory metals to develop deformable, self-repairing robots and ship-attached armor. Fuyo is fully analyzing the Ancient Star Alliance database, filtering out currently usable technology fragments and star map information. Zero is currently recuperating and attempting to communicate more deeply with the ring fragments within the certificate to understand the growth mechanism of the civilization certificate. Based on the information unlocked by the certificate and database fragments, 3 soon-to-be-visited target areas have been selected. Tranquil Garden, a star region marked as a biodiversity reserve by the Ancient Star Alliance, which may contain rare flora and fauna. The environment is relatively peaceful and suitable for rest and biological resource gathering. Donghua Star Belt, a planetary belt rich in special minerals and active energy flows, suspected to be the residual influence of an Ancient Star Alliance industrial facility. We can acquire advanced industrial materials, but there may be automatic defenses or environmental hazards. The Pioneer Observatory has been abandoned. The coordinates of an ancient Covenant outer observation station may contain some research equipment or observational data. The risks are unknown, but we may be able to directly obtain information about the giant block or other trains. We need resources and intelligence. First, we need to go to the Tranquil Garden to allow the train and personnel to recover properly, while testing new equipment and collecting biological resources. After that, we will proceed to the Donghua Star Belt or the Observatory, depending on the situation. The route is set, and we expect to arrive at the outer edge of the Tranquil Garden in 72 hours. We are also continuously monitoring a weak directional scanning signal from the direction of the Phantom Nebula. The suspected observer sequence is still trying to track us, but it is not working well due to interference from the nebula and the train's new shielding technology. Let them search. We'll digest this information later, when they meet again. It's uncertain who will be at a disadvantage and who will be. The story of the Great Battle and the news of obtaining the Civilization Certificate gradually spread among the passengers. Amidst the sadness and loss, a stronger sense of cohesion and pride is growing. People train harder and work harder. The barriers between the Yu people, the Zixing people, and other ethnic minorities are further melting away. A shared identity is becoming increasingly clear among the passengers of Train 1314. Zishu is challenging new limits on the training ground. Xiaozhan is honing new assassination skills in the shadows. Chun Guoyang is planning a more efficient union management system and production cycle. Luqing is training the iron-blooded union discipline. Lin Zheng is teaching the Yu compatriots how to combine their abilities with train technology. We escaped from an exploding planet. plundering and struggling to survive in the sea of stars. We have destroyed civilizations and also accepted them. We, our compatriots, were once seen as prey and experimental subjects by a more powerful being. But now we hold a key, albeit a mere stimulus. And though the future remains shrouded in mist and surrounded by formidable enemies, this credential is a beginning, a mark recognized by ancient rules. It signifies that we are no longer rootless drifters. We are resilient exiles and collectors, an interstellar train carrying the seeds of civilization. Striving for a way out and answers under a doomed starry sky. A scan of the outer environment of the Silent Garden star system confirms a stable, star, low-atmosphere planets suitable for carbon-based life, and no large-scale artificial energy signals or signs of technological civilization detected. Biological signals are extremely abundant, consistent with the description of a biodiversity conservation area in the Ancient Star Alliance database. It's too quiet, too beautiful, which is unsettling. According to Ancient, the Covenant standard is that this place should be protected and destructive mining prohibited. However, with the annihilation of space, any resource could attract raiders. A full scan is needed, especially to find any ancient Covenant observatories, beacons, or traces of other visitors. Brothers, see this? This is where humans should be. Prepare to land that we might be able to collect some good stuff this time, especially rare plants and herbs. Don't be careless. The more beautiful the place, the more deadly the hidden dangers may be. According to standard exploration procedures, first dispatch reconnaissance drones and biological detectors. I have already sent out stealth reconnaissance units to conduct a preliminary survey of the third planet with the strongest life signal. I sense that the flow of life energy in this star system is very harmonious and abundant. But it seems to be mixed with a few faint, coordinated strands of sadness and vigilance, clues from different directions. Indicate recent activity. Analysis of the metal fragments shows a 67% match with common ship materials of the known Marauder civilization, the Bone-Shattering tribe. The camouflaged entrance's technological level is higher than the Bone-Shattering tribes. Approaching or reaching our current level, things are definitely not peaceful here. The Bone-Shattering tribe doesn't sound like a benevolent group. Who built that camouflaged entrance? Is it a legacy of the Ancient Star Alliance or a stronghold of another civilization? The entrance is well hidden, but its defenses seem weak. My reconnaissance units approached without triggering an alarm. I need to infiltrate and investigate the Bone-Shattering tribe's tracks that we need to deal with them to prevent them from interfering with us or damaging this fragile ecosystem. I suggest splitting our forces, one team to handle the Bone-Shattering tribe threat, and one team to investigate the mysterious entrance. Leave the Bone-Shattering tribe to our Science Guild and the Iron Blood Guild of Luching. It's a good time to test our new equipment. Checking the entrance. Might require a more covert and perceptive team. Chairman Xiao and I can cooperate. Approved by Zishu Lucheng, you will lead the joint team. To clear away any traces of the bone shatterers and assess their threat level. If necessary, you can proactively eliminate them. Xiao Zhenlin, you will lead an elite squad to explore that entrance. Prioritize entry and intelligence gathering. Avoiding conflict. Train and main fleet, maintain track vigilance, and provide support at any time. They went in that direction in a hurry, seemingly chasing prey or fleeing. Follow them, keep your distance, and figure out what they're up to. There's life behind the entrance. More than one. They seem tense and tired, but without obvious hostility or tyranny. What are they afraid of? When we caught up, we saw an infuriating sight. A dozen ugly, rock-skinned bone shatterers. They were frantically digging and destroying a field of elegant silver flowers. Radiating a soft glow, with energy weapons and crude tools, in the center lay the corpses of several native intelligent beings. They were slender, with transparent, thin wings, resembling legendary elves. Dig up all these glittering flowers. And where have those winged insects gone? Find them. Their blood is said to fetch a high price. The scum opened fire, leaving no one alive. The battle erupted instantly. The Bonebreaker Raiders, though fierce, were far inferior in equipment and discipline to us. Under the onslaught of our new weapons, they quickly collapsed. Just as the last few raiders tried to escape, several precise and slender energy beams suddenly shot out from the surrounding woods, instantly killing them. The beams originated from several native intelligent beings who had just appeared, wielding simple but sophisticated energy crossbows, their expressions a mixture of fear and hatred, the survivors who resembled elves. Who are you? Bonebreaker, lackeys of the Bone Tribe, or new raiders. Relax, we are not raiders. We are from Train D1314, passing through this area by chance. The bone-shattered tribe outside has already been dealt with by our companions. We possess credentials. We have no intention of harming you. We are merely seeking resources and knowledge and eliminating threats like the bone-shattered tribe. Credentials. You are a civilization recognized by the Watcher's system. Thank you, planet. You are the first visitors in 300 years to arrive with goodwill and qualifications. We are the generations of guardians of the Tranquil Gardens. The Rain Clan. We need to help. Enemy fleet composition analysis complete. One large, armed merchant ship. 8 medium-sized attack ships, 8 small frigates, approximately 20 assault boats. No train-level units detected. Enemy energy readings are high. High-level individuals, superhumans, and psionicists may be present. Estimated contact time, 45 minutes. Tranquil Garden Cherry Blossom Garden Defense Plan activated. Phase 1 Orbital Interception. The ancestral protection has finally been reactivated. Activating these arrays can guide the life energy of the entire planet to form powerful regional shields and attack beams, but it places a heavy burden on the planet's ecology and cannot be sustained as a trump card in critical moments. In addition, I suggest deploying the automated defense units and ghost mines we brought along the key paths around the shelter. I can try to guide the natural energy of the Starfire flower field to set up a barrier that interferes with mental interference and extracts life energy, weakening enemy spiritualists and ordinary soldiers. It seems that the useless members of the Shattered Bone tribe have failed and even disturbed the little rats here. But do you think you can stop me with this ambush? All warships are free to fire, clear the channel, and prepare the landing pods for the target, the largest life signal gathering area, the shelter, and the Starfire flower field. Dozens of landing pods broke through the atmosphere like fireballs and fell toward their predetermined targets. Most of them were intercepted and destroyed by orbital and ground anti-aircraft fire, but more than 20 landing pods successfully landed at the edge of the forest and flower field. As the landing hatch opened, mercenaries clad in uniform armor bearing the insignia of the honeysuckle flower surged out. They were well-equipped and highly trained, far superior to the rabble of the Shattered Bone tribe. Several lightly armed walking machines also landed simultaneously. For eternal youth and strength, kill those winged insects. Collect all the honeysuckle. Those who resist, kill them without hesitation. Let them see what home field combat is all about. The automatic turrets already set up in the forest were activated. Bombs, along with berserk giant plants like man-eating thorn vines guided by the Rain Tribe warriors, simultaneously attacked, causing heavy casualties to the landing mercenaries. Crossfire. Don't let them get close to the core of the flower field. Brother Lin Zheng. It's your turn. Lin Zheng stood in the center of the flower field, his forehead mark resonating with a honeysuckle core in his hand. A pale silver cloud of light spread from him. The enemy flagship began to move forward, its main gun charging. The target appeared to be one of our destroyers. He ordered the destroyers to evade the mobile strike group, concentrate firepower to harass its flagship, delaying its main gun firing. Railgun charged to 20%. Preparing to fire a warning shot at the enemy flagship to distract it. Interesting. This old car actually has such a good thing. It seems that this time we can not only get the Lin Yu clan and Honeysuckle, but also make an extra fortune in technology. Order to release swarm drones to interfere with the enemy's small ships. Frigates move forward to attract the enemy's railgun fire. This ship is preparing to perform a psionic jump to directly penetrate the planet's D-orbit and destroy their ground command node. And that annoying flower field barrier. High-intensity psionic sphere detected. The enemy flagship has broken through the outer defense line. What? Immediately adjust the railgun target and lock onto the enemy flagship. All ground units prepare to withstand the railgun bombardment. Humble resistors, tremble before true power. This garden is mine. I cannot let him destroy it. I will protect it with my life and death. Oh, there is a psionicist who can briefly withstand sword cannons. Interesting. Capture him alive. His blood will be more replenishing. Railgun lock onto the enemy flagship and fire. The enemy flagship is in low orbit and has just performed a psionic jump and main gun firing. Its shield is unstable. This is an excellent opportunity. Railgun charged to 20% and fire. The flagship is damaged. The Spirit Flower fleet immediately. Amidst the chaos, Xiaozhen's mobile strike group and orbital defense fleet launched a fierce attack, destroying several more enemy ships. He then ordered all units to converge on the flagship. Preparing for an emergency jump. The remaining soul-devouring flower warships hastily moved towards the damaged flagship, simultaneously releasing a large number of smoke bombs and chaff rounds to cover the enemy's escape. Don't let them get away. Avenge the Lin brothers and your fallen comrades. Clear out the remaining mechs and heavy firepower points. Pursue them? Their flagship is damaged. You can try to leave them behind. Don't pursue a cornered enemy. Prioritize treating the wounded, stabilizing the defense, and clearing the battlefield. Additionally, scan and record their jump trajectory and energy characteristics, especially that psionic jump technique. It's clear the enemy has completed their jump and escaped this star system. The trajectory has been recorded. Energy characteristic analysis shows a significant difference from known psionic usage methods, suggesting the fusion of some kind of biotechnology. His body and soul were severely damaged. Conventional treatments were ineffective. Use the best medicine at all costs. Chen sent him to the ecological reverse warehouse. Yaya and I, along with the honeysuckle stamens, might be able to guide life energy to repair his damage. But this requires a massive amount of pure life energy. You can use as much honeysuckle as you like. He was injured while protecting the garden and my people. I will never thank you for your great kindness. From now on, Train number 133 will be a friend and ally of our Rain Clan warriors. The knowledge and technology we promeseto share will be presented to you later. Also, this is a replica of the world tree species, containing the life map and natural rhythm of this star field. It is a gift to you, which may be helpful to your injured warrior and your ecological research. Thank you. We will also help you rebuild your home and leave some defensive facilities and communication terminators. If the Zero Flower Merchant Guild or other enemies come again, we can provide faster support to the captured mercenaries and the captured equipment. What to do with the mercenaries? We can interrogate them to obtain intelligence about the soul-devouring Flower Merchant Guild and other star fields. We can study the Chilean energy amplification technology, which may be of reference value. At the end of the battle, our side lost 3 guard ships, 11 small ships of various types, and personnel. 3 were killed and 3 were seriously injured. The 3 gained, first, the friendship of the Scaled Feather Clan and the Ancient Star Alliance's Ecological Technology Manual. Second, a replica of the World Tree Seed. Third, a large amount of intelligence about the Soul-Eating Flower Merchant Guild and surrounding star systems. Fourth, enemy psionic jump and biopsionic technology samples and debris. Fifth, practical testing of new equipment and multi-civilization joint combat mode. The losses were significant, but worthwhile. We gained valuable biotechnology, and our ally, Ling Jingyan, will surely recover. Next, according to the original plan, we will head to the Duanlu Star Belt. We need more mineral and industrial resources to digest the technology we gained and manufacture stronger weapons. The Soul-Eating Flower Merchant Guild will be remembered for this grudge. Upon arriving at the Duanlu Star Belt, we detected extremely high concentrations of rare metal signals, including key materials for manufacturing advanced armor and energy weapons, as well as strong, unstable natural energy flows. The Star Belt is experiencing gravitational chaos and frequent electromagnetic storms. The Ancient Star Alliance database indicates this location was once home to a large-scale automated mining and forging facility, but it is now abandoned. Warning: unnatural periodic energy pulses detected. Suspected residual facilities are still partially operational or other activities exist. The harsher the environment, the richer the resources tend to be. Dispatch the most interference-resistant reconnaissance units to create detailed star maps, especially of the energy pulse source and mineral-rich areas. Various guilds are preparing for high-risk, high-reward mining operations. The purity is high. This time it's a big hit. Don't be careless. It's unusually quiet here. Be aware of energy level fluctuations. Unauthorized mining bonus detected. Execute the purification protocol. A faint mechanized consciousness is operating. But it's riddled with errors and stubbornness. It's executing the final forging command, but materials are insufficient and energy is unstable. Very dangerous. Can you communicate or find a way to shut it down or safely enter? Warning: overload signs detected in the core furnace of the forging plant. A massive explosion is imminent, powerful enough to destroy small. Half of the star belt is under attack from the Ancient Star Alliance's automated defense system. The seventh forge is about to explode. It is recommended to evacuate all units immediately. Order all mining and scouting units to evacuate to a safe distance as quickly as possible. The Hunter's main cannon is charged to 30%. Target: the core area of the seventh forge. We cannot let it explode. Otherwise, the resources of the entire star belt may be destroyed. Attempt to send a stop command using credentials. Error: self-destruction is meaningless. We need help, and we can help you. The credentials command will cause some interference, but it is not enough to completely stop the overload explosion. 80 seconds left. No time. The main cannon is aimed at the connection between the forge's energy core and the furnace. Calculate the optimal point of destruction to make the overload energy vent harmfully instead of exploding. Calculation complete. Target locked. Fire. Overload stopped. The forge is silent. The core area seems to have some structural preservation. The materials are relatively intact and sufficient for us to build a small fleet. Although these blueprints are only partial, the technology regarding energy system integration and the stability of megastructure far surpasses our current level. The mechanical spirit here has completely dissipated, but in its last data room. I gleaned some information. The reason it overloaded was because it received an erroneous forced conscription order from distant deep space long ago, requiring it to produce war materials. The order had extremely high authority, but its content was contradictory, causing the system logic to collapse and enter an infinite loop until the energy was exhausted or overloaded. Where did the forced conscription order come from? Attempting to recover data from the main computer wreckage, I deciphered a fuzzy coordinate marker at the source of the order, related to the core star region of the Ancient Star Alliance, but its status was marked as lost and silent. The order signing code had the highest authority level. The High Council's emergency resource collection has reached 180% of its target. The legacy value of the seventh forge is immeasurable. The next step, as planned, is to proceed to the Pioneer Observatory, now abandoned. Resources and industrial technology have been acquired. Now it's time to pursue the truth. Will the High Council's emergency directive and the secrets hidden within the observatory guide us closer to the answers to the annihilation of stars and the origin of the train? Coordinates confirmed, high-precision space scanning and gravitational wave detection initiated. An anomaly detected. 3 million kilometers ahead. There is an extremely faint. Spatial fold perfectly consistent with the background space region. Suspected to be camouflage or concealment. Target confirmed, Pioneer Observatory. The exterior is intact, but without any energy signals or lights. In a state of absolute silence. No visible external damage. The outer shell is a kind of the incomprehensible composite material could almost perfectly absorb and deflect all probe waves. There was no conventional way to enter. Inside, it was deathly silent, devoid of life, mechanical operation. And even the bare minimum of maintenance system energy. It was like a giant beast sealed in amber. But deep within this deathly silence, I sensed an extremely faint, cold, and purely disabled will to observe and record. Try using the credentials. The architectural structure is consistent with the style of the ancient Star Alliance, but more advanced and restrained. All systems are in deep hibernation. The energy core seems to have been actively shut down or removed. Secondary civilization detected. Credential serial number 1314 beta. Credential binder identity confirmed. Permission level, basic access. Start. Last record playback protocol. Observation record terminated in the standard calendar. Cannot turn back 1 year. Great Annihilation, Wave 731. The leading edge has bypassed the warning line of this observation station. According to the final directive of the Supreme Council, the observation station implemented the no-motor agreement, shutting down all active systems and entering a permanent state of silence, retaining only the core database and autoplay protocol, awaiting a qualified successor. He recorded that Annihilation still had so many trains that had signed agreements to avoid being discovered by Annihilation or something else. Fuyao immediately attempted to download the core database, especially the data on Annihilation and other train records. The database was massive and encrypted. At the current connection speed, it was estimated that less than 1% of the Sentry information could be downloaded. The core crystal was about to permanently close. Priority downloads included, first, detailed observation data and possible patterns of Annihilation; second, the main train types and heading trends observed; and third, the Ancient Star Alliance's highest gift package, the final directive of the Council. The brief content of the agreement between Ling and Jinma. Fourth, the definition of a qualified successor. Annihilation is not uniform. It will accelerate or produce plagues in some areas. The train's course seems to vaguely point to several common, distant convergence points. The final instruction mentions terms such as the Fire Seed Project, civilization screening, and the final barrier. Successor conditions: possess credentials and actively seek out this observatory. Just before the core crystal's light was about to completely extinguish, he sent a final encrypted message to Chun An's credential, along with a clear guiding message pointing to an unknown coordinate deep within the star map. Immediately afterwards, the crystal completely dimmed, turning into an ordinary black stone. The observatory's interior fell into darkness and deathly silence again. Gaishao's data analysis is complete. The annihilation data has extremely high research value, optimizing our early warning system. Train observation data indicates the existence of numerous unknown competitors and potential allies enemies. The final command information is incomplete, but it confirms that the Ancient Star Alliance had no contingency plan for the large machine. The last received encrypted information and guiding beacon have been decrypted and passed on to later successors. You are not accidental survivors. The train is the carrier of the Fire Seed Project. The selection ring is the filter. The observatory is the guiding tower. Annihilation is the test, and also purification. The true destination is hidden in the starry sea, after a drunken stupor. Activate the credentials, follow the letter, traverse the Misty Corridor, and arrive at the initial land. There lie the first and last answers regarding the origin, the end, and the fight against the end. May the flame of civilization never be extinguished. Therefore, our train, our journey, and even the riverside observatory we encounter may all be long gone, as part of the massive plan off the lost super-civilization. To cope with that great destruction, we sound like chosen guinea pigs, upgraded versions of pawns and sparks. Now the chessboard points to the next step, though it may be an even more dangerous abyss. That initial land, I sensed an indescribable ancient and heavy ore emanating from the beacon, carrying a faint glimmer of hope. Whether we are part of the plan or not, whether the road ahead is the truth or a trap, we have no way back. The annihilation of the stars is chasing us. Other trains are running ahead. Now we at least have a clear direction. A direction that may be the ultimate goal of all trains. Activate the credentials. Upgrade our ships. Stock up on resources. And then set off for that Misty Corridor to find the initial land. Bidding analysis complete. Indeed, the directional induced coordinates, based on the last information from the observation station and the hints from the fusion of credentials, require activation of the Level 2 civilization credential at a specific frequency to open or stably enter the temporary passage of the Misty Corridor. The passage is expected to be unstable, subject to interference, distortion, or the risk of encountering unknown entities. What conditions are needed to activate the credential? The fusion degree between the credential and the train's energy core energy vault is increasing. But it seems a catalyst is still needed, a large amount of pure spiritual energy resonance to simulate the swollen collective will of civilization. and complete the response to the target. Perhaps I can try this, using the sacrificer's ability as a bridge to guide the hopes, beliefs, and will to survive of all train passengers to resonate with the credential. However, this requires all core members, especially you, the train conductor, as the center of the resonance. Fellow guides, the road ahead is more dangerous than anywhere we've ever been. We may get lost, we may encounter incomprehensible beings, we may even be wiped out. But it may also hold the ultimate answers: why we are here, why we perished in this starry sky, and how we should survive in the future. This is not an order, but a choice. Now I need your strength, not star coins, not bullets, but the belief in your hearts that you want to live no matter what, that you want to see tomorrow. Lend me your will. Lend me this token representing our civilization, and open that door for yourselves. The mark on Lin Zheng's forehead and the token in Chun En's hand simultaneously shone brightly. He, as a bridge, guided the vast and chaotic energy converging from the hearts of 100,000 passengers, the torrent of beliefs, after being sorted and stored within him, transformed into a blazing and tenacious flame of civilization, which flowed into the token. Chunin felt the token in his hand become scorching hot, as if it had gained life, resonating deeply with him and the entire train. He replicated his mind, directing this energy, which fused the will of everyone, towards the signal coordinates on the star map, and pushed it out with all his might. A silent vibration swept across the entire train. At the edge of the distant Misty Corridor ahead, space began to violently distort and fold. A huge vortex passage, composed of countless colorful streams and constantly flickering and extremely unstable, slowly unfolded. Inside the passage, the light and shadow were chaotic, making it impossible to see anything. The temporary passage was now open, with extremely low stability, and was expected to last only 47 minutes. A strong anomaly in spacetime curvature was detected inside the passage. Fragments of energy and echoes of unknown life forms. All units enter maximum combat readiness. It is recommended to form a tight formation and traverse with the train as the core. There is no turning back. All ships, listen to orders. Use the train as the anchor. Frigates and destroyers provide close escort. Enter the Misty Corridor. Target, the initial land. As soon as the fleet enters the passage, the familiar starry sky outside the window vanishes instantly, replaced by indescribable light. Strange sights appear. Colors are no longer colors. Shapes constantly disintegrate and recombine. The sense of time becomes disordered. Space seems to fold and extend on its own. Countless whispers. Cries of grief, laughter, and grand echoes of incomprehensible meaning fill the ears and consciousness. Strange sparks constantly erupt from the shields of each ship. The system frequently reports errors. Communication is intermittent, only through physical connection, with ultra-close-range laser communication barely maintained. Many passengers experienced adverse reactions such as dizziness, nausea, and hallucinations. Those with weak willpower even began to babble incoherently, warning of high-risk information pollution. The mental barrier power was increased to maximum, and non-combat personnel were advised to enter deep sleep or a mental shield state. Chunin tightly gripped the still glowing bottle spell. Like a stabilizing force, he emitted stable fluctuations, providing a thin layer of protection for the core area of the train, barely resisting the most direct mental erosion. A physical threat was detected. Fire was fired to test the waters. Don't look, don't think. Follow the guidance of the credentials and accelerate out of this area. In the bizarre and chaotic tide, a huge, ancient-style, heavy bronze train wreck suddenly appeared ahead. It was stuck in the folds of the passage, long since lost its power. The outer shell was covered with scars and strange corrosion marks, but its former glory was still faintly visible. What was even more chilling was that many passenger corpses, dressed in various clothes, floated near the wreckage, already atomized or crystallized. The train was filled with despair and resentment. They had been lost here for a long time and were eventually assimilated by the mist. Be careful. Their last resentment lingers here. To confirm his words, many translucent, distorted spirits emerged from the wreckage, emitting silent wails as they rushed towards Train 1314. The spiritual pollution they carried was even more severe than the previous shadows. Oh, they were the obsessions of the lost, trapped here, suffering and unconsciously being eroded by the passage. Perhaps we could soothe or guide them, using the power of hope and direction. Yaya and I could try to purify a small area with the resonance of life and growth. The resentful spirits, upon contact with this fluctuation representing the continuation of life and a peaceful destination, underwent strange changes. Some of the spirits' violent movements subsided, their distorted faces seeming momentarily bewildered. Then they stopped attacking and, as if attracted, circled around that spiritual energy, slowly swirling and eventually turning into specks of starlight carrying a sense of relief, dissipating into the mist and opening a narrow passage. Now, the entire ship will pass through the purification passage without stopping. The fleet laboriously passed through the gaps in the spirit nest and approached the wreckage of the lost train. Up close. On its damaged hatch, a corroded grain of ash could be vaguely seen, along with the wreckage of Train 1314. The core of the vehicle, though similar in style, is much older. An ultra-high-intensity polymer was detected, its energy reading immeasurable. It is a variant resulting from the long-term fusion of the lost train wreckage and the rules of the Misty Corridor. The tail section of the ship accelerated. The main cannon charged, and it aimed at the Titan's eyes. It identified the ancient Covenant spark hazard as a non-relative. After paying, the price of losing several small ships, the fleet finally broke through the most chaotic area. The color of the mist ahead began to become uniform, presenting a dim, grayish-white hue. The passage also seemed to be stabilizing. The perception of the Credential reached its peak. At the end of the grayish-white mist, a boundary appeared, leading to the beacon's endpoint. The spatial structure is exceptionally stable and impenetrable. A small, faintly glowing mark emanates from the barrier, its shape perfectly matching the guidance packet last received by the Credential. The packet's mark resonates with the Credential. This appears to be the door. How to open it? The Credential automatically releases its grip, flies towards the mark, and gently imprints itself upon it. Silently, the smooth barrier ripples outwards like water around the mark, concave inwards to form a portal of light. Behind the portal is no longer a chaotic passage, but a deep, silent, dark void adorned with sparse, ancient stars, an indescribable sense of desolation and antiquity. As if from the end of time, washes over you. The temporary passage is about to collapse. A mutated and chaotic tide is approaching from behind. All units enter the portal. We are about to reach an unknown coordinate. Spatial parameters cannot be analyzed. A massive ruined structure ahead has been detected, along with signals of massive train wreckage, remnants of a civilization war, and a faint active identification signal from the White Palace at the center of the ruins. The signal content is, "Welcome to the Seed of Fire." Siri. The beginning of 10,000. The end of needs. Also known as the Land of Beginnings. Is the end or the beginning of all trains. The wreckage, diverse in style. Comes from different eras and civilizations. They, like us, once sailed and struggled through the stars, ultimately arriving here and becoming fragments. There are signs of intense battle within the ruins. Not like the trains killing each other, but more like they fought against a common, unimaginable enemy. I sense the overwhelming emotions of death, despair, resentment, glory, and sacrifice condensed here, so intense they are almost palpable. Yet, the white hall at the center of the ruins is clean and indifferent. After the White Hall issued its identification signal, there was no further communication. Extremely weak energy was detected within the ruins, but no signs of life. It is recommended to dispatch reconnaissance units for cautious exploration. Level 4 Civilization Certificate D1314, verified in this tower. Civilization Marker, Resilient Exile, and Collector. Potential rating, medium. Arrival status, abnormal passage, carrying mist, returning, slight erosion mark. Meets basic entry requirements. Entry permitted to the outer area of the archives. We are the pioneers, the first to set foot on This archive contains all recorded information about civilizations since the launch of the Ancient Star Alliance's Fireseed project. You can access records within your permissions, including records from the origin of civilization D1314 Train. Observation records from the Fireseed project's underlying protocol and records from various nodes, such as the Chosen Ring Observation Station, which assesses the trajectory and potential of civilizations. Look at this central transmission Devourer. Their trains are like living star beasts, rated extremely dangerous. This mechanical god is entirely mechanical. Its life growth technology is barren and immeasurable. We are in the same project as these monsters. Insufficient credentials level to access the core database. Fireseed Project Origin, Great Annihilation Essence, Final Barrier. Details can be found in your own excerpt. Where's the final trial entrance? How to participate? The final trial entrance is located beneath the monument to the beginning of all origins in the core of the ruins that open it. You must meet one of the following requirements. Credential rating reaches the standard or above. You are currently at the middle 2 level and have at least one credential holder of the same level recognized. The text describes a series of events involving 3 trains. One that has been identified as a Silver Rain train and another that has been identified as a Observer series train. The text includes a series of seemingly random events, including a train that has been identified as a Silver Rain train and a train that has been identified as a Observer series train. The train is described as having acquired new psionic enhancement technology, significantly increasing its combat power. Observer series trains are described as having superior technology and ruthless, efficient tactics. The third train is described as having restrained energy poisoning techniques and extremely thick carbon layers, potentially providing very high defense. The text concludes by stating that all 3 trains have likely obtained credentials and are aware of the most important information. The final trial rules seem to indicate that this is the credential holder's approval. Either form an alliance or defeat them. We cannot sit idly by and watch the tigers fight. You how, and we have the deepest grudges. The Observer sequence sees us as experimental subjects, so neither of us is an option for an ally. What can Lin Jing sense about that silent third train? That's stone trains. Will is as steady and firm as the earth, but it seems to contain a deep sorrow and a protective obsession. It lacks Yin Yuhao's greed and the observer's indifference. But it is very closed off and difficult to approach. We are the weakest and should not be the first to get involved in the chaos. I suggest relying on the relatively safe zone near the White Palace, which seems to be protected by certain rules. We should observe the situation, gather intelligence, and simultaneously try to contact the third train. I worry that the chaos might affect the White Palace or touch. There are certain dangers in the ruins, and the qualification challenge could be triggered at any time. We must maintain peak condition. Lin Yuhao, that bastard, we must find an opportunity to kill him this time. Fuyao activates maximum range silent reconnaissance to collect all information on the 3 trains. Luo Yuya tries to make the gentlest, non-malicious contact with the stone train using natural spiritual energy. Lin Zheng continues to try to sense the core of the ruins and the information from the qualification challenge. Everyone else, prepare for battle. But do not fire without my order. Target, Silver Feather Sample. Spiritual Energy Mutation Data Collection complete. Threat level reassessed. Sample recovery procedure executed. You dare to activate the Flesh Fairy? Release the Garden Guardian. That bastard. He used the passengers in his train as fuel and weapons. High intensity of life energy and soul collection reaction. Yin Yuhao is using some forbidden, evil technology that fuses biological and spiritual energy. Its threat level has risen sharply. More than 3 token holders have been detected. The basic conditions for qualification review have been met. The challenge is being randomly generated. The challenge content is, sustain the mutation tide and reach the core of the ruins, the monument to the beginning of all origins. The first 3 to arrive with intact tokens will have priority to enter the final trial. Failure or having the token taken away will result in the elimination of the challenge. The challenge begins. Do not engage in prolonged combat. Utilize the advantages of our ship's flexibility and new weapons to focus on breakthrough. The town's mobile fleet will clear the way. Shulu City will eliminate the approaching threat. Shun Guoyang will plan the optimal breakthrough path, avoiding large mutants and the other three sides crossfire zone. The core of the target ruins. The number 1314 train fleet struggled through the turbulent waters. Frigates were frequently damaged. Small vessels were towed away and swallowed up. Everyone was fighting with all their might. Lin Zheng tried again to guide the death and destruction on the battlefield into a temporary, weak enhancement for their own side. But the burden was extremely heavy. Luo Yu and Yi remotely released spiritual power to soothe the nearby mutants, but the effect was minimal. They seemed to be controlled by a higher will and were healing the wounded. In the chaos, I observed that Yin Yu Hao seemed to be intentionally or unintentionally leading our side's mutants towards the number 1334 train, the source of the disaster in Donghua. Meanwhile, the observer sequence coldly collected various data, including combat information on the mutants and each train. The stone train remained unmoved and steady. Before the canyon lay the clearly visible base of the colossal monument to the beginning of 10,000 years. However, the canyon's exit was blocked by an exceptionally massive, mountain-like aberration, seemingly pieced together from the wreckage of dozens of trains. It stood like the canyon's guardian, radiating a despairing, oppressive aura. Simultaneously, the Silver Sky train and the Observer sequence train broke through Eden's nest from two other directions. Arriving at the canyon's other two entrances, the three trains formed a triangle, confronting the giant Eden entity. The stone train, slightly slower and still behind, was also present. The giant Eden entity slowly turned, its crimson gaze sweeping over the three trains, emitting a silent roar. The battle for the final trial's entrance ticket was imminent, and the final test of qualification seemed to be bypassing this guardian, or how to get through first amidst the watchful eyes of the other two sides. There's no time for a love triangle. Let's join forces to take down this obstacle first. Then each of us can charge towards the pillar. If we agree that the target, the Void Sea Guardian, is a high-value combat data sample, we recommend that D-level combat units participate in the joint attack. We will provide weakness analysis and fire guidance. We can join forces, but let's be clear. Whoever dares to stab us in the back, I swear I'll cripple him even if it means failing the trial. The target's shield energy node is located at the third joint of the left arm, in the center of the back, and at the right heel. We recommend focusing our attack on his energy core, which seems to be in an unusual location. The wound caused by the attack shows a strong energy leak inside, pointing towards the lower part of his chest cavity, where layers of debris are piled up, protecting the Void Sea Guardian, which requires internal blasting. We dispatched Garden Guardians to burrow into the wound and self-destruct. Approval was granted. We will provide the burrowing worm coordinates and energy interference. Several Silver Feather-class flesh and blood monsters, guided by the Observer sequence and under the cover fire of the first 374, fearlessly charged into the Void Sea Guardian's body. A large wound appeared on the surface, and the monsters burrowed towards the internal energy core. Immediately afterward, a muffled explosion erupted from within. The Void Sea Guardian froze abruptly, its body flashing a dark red light. Now was the time for all firepower. To target its most chaotic energy area, its chest, a volley of the three strongest attacks simultaneously struck the Void Sea Guardian, who let out a final groan. Its massive body began to freeze, collapse, and disintegrate from its chest, turning into countless burning metal and energy fragments that vanished. The wide road leading directly to the base of the monument to the beginning of all origins was revealed. The base was a huge circular platform engraved with runes, with a distinct groove in the center. Its shape matching the civilization certificate. Almost the instant the passage opened, the fragile alliance shattered. The three trains simultaneously revved their engines and charged madly toward the base. At the same time, mutual restraint attacks began. The Silver Feather released a large number of small psionic shuttles to interfere with the routes of train number 134 and the Observer sequence. The Observer sequence launched a spatial anchoring field to try to slow down the other two. Train number 1314 used the maneuverability and shock absorption precision of the new frigate to weave through artillery fire and artillery barges, while clearing the zip lines with dense close-in weapon systems and calculating arrival time. The Silver Feather had a slight advantage. The Observer sequence was second, and ours was third. However, the base seemed to only be able to accommodate one train at a time for authentication. Regardless, Xiaozhen used Shadow Raiders and special bullets to interfere with the Silver Feather. The sub-book concentrated its firepower to force the Observer sequence to turn evil. The Devourer of Evil is unworthy to touch the Holy Land. Now, the Observer sequence train is slightly ahead, with the 1334 train following closely behind. Target locked. Clear the final obstacle. The Observer sequence train turns some of its cannons towards the 1334 train at the same time. The bottom of its train opened, releasing several spherical devices emitting a dangerous blue light. Space stasis bombs. Not good. The maximum power of the Flying Leap is used for emergency evasion. The railgun is aimed at those bombs and detonated in advance. The 1334 train made extreme maneuvers, narrowly avoiding the coverage of most of the stagnant bombs, but a few were still detonated by the railgun at close range. The blue field caused the speed of the rear of the train to drop sharply, and some external equipment froze. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the Observer sequence train rushed onto the base platform first. A silver-colored, complexly structured token appeared on its front. The camera base's central groove detected that the applicant's civilization core possessed absolute rationality, annihilation of emotions. An over-reliance on external objects and data, and insufficient assessment of civilization uniqueness and spark activity. The review failed, and the current round priority was revoked. Now we release our credentials to show all the experiences, emotions, struggles, and hopes of our civilization. Civilization markers, resilient exiles, and collectors. Core gut detection, rich emotions, outstanding resilience, significant multi-civilization integration characteristics. Possessing a certain degree of spark activity and growth potential. Qualification review passed. Granted the final trial. First Heat Guardian Access qualification channel is about to open. No, that's mine. Destroy that light. Data record target. Number 1334 passed the implicit civilization characteristic review. Emotion and integration are key parameters. Reevaluate its sample value. Recommendation. Seize the opportunity to capture the complete train unit. Congratulations, young Spark. May the Earth protect you on your journey. Authentication completed. Final trial entrance marked as pending activation. Silver Ant and Observer sequence still pose a threat. Stone Train's intentions are unclear. Recommendation. Enter the trial immediately to avoid external interference. No. Since the entrance has been opened to us, there should be a time limit. We must deal with the immediate danger first. In Yu Hao is at his last gasp. Observer sequence. The first priority qualification has been confirmed. The second and third priority qualifications will be determined by the remaining certificate holders after the first priority qualification enters the trial or expires. Note that the base protection rules are in effect during the trial entrance period. Direct attacks on the certified unit are prohibited, but the means of qualification competition are unlimited. Unrestricted means mean that. Although you cannot directly attack train number 1314, you can attack its escort fleet, block the entrance, and even attack the train itself when Chun-En and others leave the train to enter the trial. The certified unit may specifically refer to the train core or certificate. Thank you for your help just now. I don't know how to address the mountain sun that we protect the earth and inherit the evil deeds of the secret language. You still have conscience and warmth. The trial is dangerous. Take care. May I ask how much you know about the trial? It is said to be a test to face the root that it may be a battle, a choice, or a questioning of the essence of civilization. Every civilization sees it differently. We have failed once, having lost its initial credentials. Now merely a guardian. The silver feather suddenly took a new turn. It no longer attacked the engine bay, but instead unleashed all its remaining firepower, along with the barely reassembled, mangled flesh and blood monster, towards the son of the mountain. Old Stone, since you've been meddling, I'll start with you. I'll devour your train core, and I'll regain my strength and qualifications. The observer sequence also quietly moved. Subtly blocking the possible retreat or support routes of the D1314. Clearly, they were plotting a winner-takes-all scenario. The son of the mountain had helped us, but we couldn't do anything. However, the observer sequence, watching Fuyao, calculated the optimal solution and suggested dispatching an elite assault team, carrying high-explosive equipment to secretly approach the Silver Feather's damaged tail through the external passage and ruined surface to carry out internal sabotage. The main fleet maintained its deterrent against the observer sequence while attempting to establish tactical coordination with the son of the mountain. Approved by Xiao Zhenzi, you each lead a team of the most elite Marines to execute the tail-cutting operation. Chen Guoyang commanded the fleet to keep an eye on the observer sequence. Ling Zheng attempted to, using the spirit of the son of the mountain to provide simple friend or foe identification and weakness marking. The two teams met at the stern of the Silver Feather. Inside, a large crack created by the impact of the son of the mountain and the scraping of debris emanated chaotic sounds and eerie spiritual fluctuations. After infiltrating the target's power core or psionic amplifier and installing the Fury Core bomb, they immediately withdrew. The team, like ghosts, infiltrated the internal passageways, filled with bizarre scenes of biological and mechanical hybrids. The walls writhed like flesh, and many dying prisoners of various races were imprisoned there, a nauseating sight. They avoided patrolling mercenaries and automated defenses, following the simplified route map provided by Fuyao through scanning. Heading towards the area with the strongest energy reaction. Along the way, they rescued several dying prisoners and learned of more atrocities committed by Yin Yuhao inside. Sir, I said, I made a very weak connection with the son of the mountain moon's consciousness. He thanked us for our assistance and told us that the Silver Feather's core power was protected by layers of biological armor, but there was a stimulating psionic node functioning as a flesh and blood furnace located in the third sector below its bridge. The defenses were relatively weak. If destroyed, it would severely damage the psionic system. The team found the node room. In the center of the room was a semi-moving, enormous organ made of flesh and purple crystal, connected by countless pipes that powered the entire Silver Rain's psionic system. Several kobolds dressed as psionic priests were maintaining order in the room that the raid guards were eliminated. Zishu and his team quickly installed high-yield Fury core bombs at the key connections of the node organ. Just as they were about to evacuate, the room's alarm blared. You dare! The heavy security door began to fall, and more guards surged in from all directions. Xiaozhen, you go first, I'll cover you. We'll go together. The bomb's 10-second timer is enough. The team rushed out of the room at the last moment. The security door slammed shut behind them, followed by a series of violent explosions from inside the Silver Ring. The entire train shook violently. Large swaths of the purplish-black psionic patterns on its surface extinguished and withered. The Yamaha no Sun, who was attacking from the outside, seized the opportunity and slammed a heavy impact into the already battered side of the Silver Feather. The Silver Feather train finally succumbed and began to break apart from the middle, countless fragments, corpses, and hastily escaped life pods scattering into the surrounding ruins. The token holder's hidden message, fallen qualification. Stripped of eligibility. Evil will ultimately be punished. Young Sparks. You can enter the trial in peace. I will guard the gate for you, protecting you from the cold-blooded scourge. Data update. Added variables. Guardian-type civilization intervention risk assessment improved. Recommendation: temporarily postpone direct conflict and switch to observation and data collection mode. Target D1334. Variables decreased after entering the trial. Great kindness needs no thanks. We will remember this kindness. No need for thanks. Protect the good. The oath of the sons of the mountains is to go forth. In the trial, guard your true self. All pay attention. Prepare to enter the final trial. The train enters its highest defense state. Non-trial personnel will be under the unified command of Chun Guoyang and remain here, forming a defensive perimeter with the Son of Mountain Annihilation. Be vigilant and train the observers. This time, we are not driving the train, but stepping in ourselves. For our civilization, for all the answers. Let's set off. A slight vibration of the string. Outside the window, a dazzling light shimmered. Then everything returned to white. When their vision returned, they found themselves standing in an infinitely extending white corridor with countless doors on both sides. The corridor had no end above, below, left, and right were all void. Each door displayed different images or symbols, some clear, some blurry. Welcome to the final trial. Section 1. The Astrological Corridor. This place reflects the core of civilization and individual aspirations. Push open the corresponding door to face your roots, fears, desires, and choices. Only by passing through all the doors of the heart can you reach the core of the trial. Warning: those who succumb to their aspirations will be permanently lost. The voice disappeared. The group found that although they were close to each other, so close, yet seemingly separated by a transparent film. Visible but untouchable communication limited to an encrypted channel within the squad. Choose a door to enter. Your heart's desires must be followed. But all must be confronted. Before you lies the evidence. One door shows the moon star execution ground in flames and your sister Lingyue's weeping face, a scene of fear and protection. Another shows the bloody image of absorbing death energy when the sacrificial ability is activated, and the premonition of its gradual backlash. Another shows the peaceful time spent with Luo Yu and Yiya inside the train's ecopod. Before you lies the book. Before you lies the despair and search when Yuansheng is lost in the apocalypse and dust, a scene of emotion and dependence. Before you lies the scene of leading your team as guild leader, witnessing your comrades die one after another, a scene of responsibility and powerlessness. Before you lies your own simple pursuit of power and the thrill of battle. Before you lies the dark past. Before you lies your own precise calculations and efficient killing. Before you lies the trust and following gaze of the guild members in the night. Before you lies the bond and change. Before you lies the shadow of Mori no Akira's destruction, your longing for your clan. And the discovery of the new family fist in D1314. For the sake of survival. Plunder and destruction merge with the silver feather. Is your civilization a spark or a new catastrophe? I have never taken pleasure in destruction. I have given choices and accepted my compatriots. Under the doomed starry sky, survival itself is not black and white. I bear every sin, but I will never stop. My train must not only survive, but also find a way to break this cycle of despair. This is your choice. Embrace death. Control death. And you will be omnipotent. The price is becoming a part of death. Isn't that the destination? No, my power is for protecting. Protecting the moon, protecting my companions, protecting everything I cherish on the train. If the price is to become a paper-devouring monster, then I would rather not have this power. Get out. You are not strong enough. You will only make mistakes. You are the guild leader. Their deaths are your responsibility. I am the guild leader, and I have a responsibility. But the living cannot live in the shadow of the dead forever. Their sacrifice was to allow others to live. What I need to do is not to wallow in self-blame, but to become stronger with their share. Protecting those who survived and leading everyone to the end was the best way to honor their sacrifice. Everyone underwent their own trials, narrowly escaping danger but expending a great deal of energy, gaining some insight or change. Xiaojin seemed to have resolved some of his inner conflicts, his temperament losing some of its pure coldness. Luo Yu and Yiyo were able to let go of their past sorrows and connect more deeply with their present. Before them, only a huge, hazy door remained, seemingly composed of countless fragments of their own minds. From behind the door came an indescribable sense of grandeur and oppression, as if facing the very origin of the universe. Having grasped the key information, we began to return along the original path. The process of escaping the sea of roots was also fraught with indescribable risks, like going against the current, relying on the calm stability after transformation and our unwavering will. We finally passed through the vortex safely and returned to the initial place, that pure white space. Then came the exit of the new alley corridor, and we finally appeared on the base of the monument to the beginning of 10,000 yuan. It seemed that not much time had passed outside. The son of the mountain remains loyal, maintaining a standoff with the Observer series, keeping watch nearby and in the distance. Trains 1334 and the remaining troops are also on high alert. Aligning with our ancient beliefs, protecting the land is also protecting the seeds of civilization's continuation. You have brought a definite path. The son of the mountain is willing to join this aggregation agreement, contributing the richness of our civilization and the variables of protection. According to the information brought by the train conductor, we need to unite with as many other sparks as possible. The observer sequence's attitude is unclear, but they are powerful variables. Those powerful lights in the distance may be even more ancient sparks, or they may be threats. The most urgent task is to improve our own strength. We need to digest the technology obtained from the Luyu clan of the Broken Skull Star Belt and understand some of the rules obtained from the Sea of Origin. Even if it's just a superficial understanding, and transform it into practical applications. At the same time, we need to try to contact the observer sequence, clarify the situation, and decide whether to eliminate the observer sequence first. They have been acting suspiciously all along. No. They are very valuable variables, and according to the agreement. What we need is synchronization, not internal strife. We will attempt to communicate with them. Based on the information linked by the credentials, we will plan our course. We will first contact a relatively nearby and stable spark point, and simultaneously send a communication request containing part of the truth and a summary of the aggregation protocol to the observer sequence. Dialogue Information Verification Authenticity Assessment. 87.3% Logical Chain Complete Conclusion. The feasibility theory exists for the Ancient Star Alliance's ultimate solution. We accept the joint proposal, but under the following conditions. 1. Share all resolvable data obtained from the Sea of Origin. 2. During the aggregation process, we must take the lead in coordinating and calculating variable injection. 3. During the joint period, we will not attack each other. Resources and intelligence are limited and shared. Conditions 1 and 3 are acceptable. Condition 2. Variable injection coordination must be jointly negotiated by all participating sparks. Credentials, fame, and civilization characteristics determine the outcome and cannot be unilaterally led. We agree to modify and establish a temporary spark alliance. Our code name, Logic Unit, will be dispatched. A research vessel was dispatched to rendezvous with you for in-depth data exchange and preliminary agreement drills. 3 trains with distinct styles formed a unique fleet, heading towards a spark coordinate indicated by the credential information. The target point was displayed as a gentle, biased, biosymbiotic, and psychic-coordinated civilization voyage. Internally, all efforts were focused on development. Trains number 1, 3, and 4 began a series of explosive upgrades. New rule-adaptive shields were developed. Research began on symbiotic individual armor with a deeper level of biological and mechanical integration. Testing of Lin Zhang's sacrificial ability began. After removing some impurities, it initially fused with Luo Yu and Yichui's natural psychic energy and honeysuckle life energy, forming a unique life-death balance force. Small-scale applications were begun. Inspired by the World Tree Seed and the Ancient Star Alliance's ecological technology, Luo Yu and Yichui successfully cultivated the first unclear within the train. A small, stable ecological cycle zone can produce high-quality food and mild psionic. Unfamiliar sparks, as well as logical units and children of the mountains. You bring ancient echoes and an urgent call. Please come closer, let us sense your hearts. We sense sincerity, unwavering protection, and the inescapable shadow of the end times. Green Wanderers agree to join the Alliance, contributing our symbiotic and prosperous power to the continuation of life. However, we need time to separate our world tree from the planet's ecology. This requires the stabilizing power of the children of the mountains and the computational assistance of the logical units. Welcome to join us. According to the Credential link, we still need to gather at least 5 to 7 powerful sparks with a synchronization rate to reach the theoretical and value requirements. Next target. This spark, codenamed Void Predator, has an extremely high rating, but its status shows extreme xenophobia and aggression. It may be our greatest challenge. The strongest variable analysis target civilization's development trajectory is extremely biased towards attack, devouring, and evolution. Its variable value may be the highest, but the integration difficulty and risk are extremely high. It is recommended to make contact with it last or find its weaknesses that it is difficult to win its heart with sincerity. But perhaps we can try to start with survival itself. Even the fiercest predator should know how to cooperate before ultimate destruction. We need a plan. A plan that can both demonstrate the strength of our alliance and provide it with an irresistible reason to cooperate. Before that, we need to continue to strengthen ourselves and try to contact other relatively mild-mannered civilizations. The desolate border is rapidly approaching. Our time is running out. The fleet is in a vast and dangerous situation, navigating the perilous star systems. Based on the credentialed information, the Void Predators do not reside in a fixed location but roam across vast star systems, devouring resources and attacking other trains or civilizations. Their movements are elusive, their attacks swift. Continuous analysis of their activity patterns is crucial for predicting their potential locations. Their journey has not been smooth sailing. They encountered a rare interstellar catastrophe, an energy void. They traversed nebulae filled with highly toxic stars and were even attacked by a small horde of star beasts, driven mad by annihilation energy. However, through coordinated efforts from all sides, including D1314's maneuverability and offensive capabilities, the Mountain Child's defenses, the Green Wanderer's psionic soothing and environmental adaptation, and the precise calculations and weakness analysis of the logic unit, we all escaped danger. The tacit understanding of the Alliance rapidly improved in actual combat. A massacre had just occurred here. The aura of the Void Predator was very fresh, and it seemed to have become thinner and stronger. It was devouring other sparks to grow stronger. It seemed to have chosen a completely different path from us, devouring other variables, attempting to survive the great cataclysm with absolute individual strength. Or perhaps become the sole ruler under the new zeal. We must stop it. Otherwise, it will not only be an enemy, but will also continuously reduce the total number of variables with the same name ASUS. Logical unit. Based on the residual energy traces, we successfully calculated the approximate jump direction and target of the Void Predator. The fleet quietly followed, maintaining maximum distance. Stealth tracking on the outskirts of the target star system, they finally spotted their target, an indescribable train. It wasn't a fixed form, but rather a constantly writhing, shifting, and expanding mass of dark silver, a hybrid of living metal and biological tissue, a colossal beast. Countless cannons, claws, mouths, eyes, and sensory organs grew and receded on its surface. It lay atop the moon of a gas giant. Like a gluttonous beast, its enormous jaws churning the high-energy fluid within the moon. The moon visibly shrank, its size exceeding that of any train present. The energy emanating from it was filled with primal predatory and evolutionary desires, a pure and terrifying will to survive and devour. A direct, Assault is not advisable. We need a communication method he can understand. Analyzing the target's behavior patterns. The likelihood of communication is less than 5% that it's recommended to demonstrate overwhelming power or offer irresistible information about a larger prey. Demonstrating power requires a combined strategido the vitals, but not fatally, as a show of force and a basis for dialogue. I can try using the broadest natural spiritual energy fluctuations to transmit a pure information flow about the great annihilation and convergence, without any emotional bias, like a natural phenomenon broadcast, to observe its instinctive reaction. Someone needs to approach its potential core area with the strongest weapon, prepared to launch a fatal blow or self-destruct to disrupt negotiations in the event of a breakdown. My plan is as follows. First, the Green Wanderer broadcasts the information. Second, the Son of the Mountain and the Logic Unit calculate. Calculate its energy flow nodes and prepare for a joint long-range sniping attack on the suspected core. Third, I, Xiaojun, will approach and make close contact in a specially designed high-speed assault boat carrying a special rule-based jamming missile. Fourth, if negotiations break down or he launches an attack, the shock absorber will detonate the jamming missile, and long-range firepower will simultaneously snipe at the vital points to create an opportunity for us to withdraw or launch a strong attack. Remember, the goal is not to eliminate him, but to force him to listen and then cooperate. The Green Wanderer releases a gentle but powerful flow of natural psionic energy information, like cosmic background radiation, covering the truth of the Great Annihilation and the Aggregation Agreement in the most objective way. The Void Predator's behemoth-like train pauses and stops. Countless sensory organs on its body turn towards the Allied fleet, emitting a silent scanning wave full of scrutiny and greed. Chunin and Xiaojun's assault boats activate their maximum visibility, and their invisibility and speed, like two thin meteors, shoot towards the relatively calm back area of the behemoth train. The energy flow calculated by the logic unit is relatively weak. The Mountain Sun and the logic unit's sniping unit muzzles light up with stored energy, locking onto several calculated key nodes. They are in place and communication can be attempted. Void Predator's controller. We have seen your power and know your path, but you devour everything and survive alone. Is survival in ruins what you desire? Under the Great Annihilation, the old rules collapse. Your power, derived from the existing rules, will also vanish. Join us, gather the power of all sparks, and in the rule reset, lift up our variables to strive for the possibility of continuation or even greater strength in the new universe for civilization and for yourself. Otherwise, our four-way alliance here will regard you as the greatest threat to the aggregation and will destroy you at all costs. Choose now, become a sacrifice to annihilation or a player in the future game. The pre-sale train fell into a strange stillness for more than 10 seconds. All the wriggling organs on the body surface stopped. The aggregation variable affects the rules, increasing the survival probability, but it binds and shares the weak. You have a special variable value that is not low. Prove your value. Otherwise, devour the proof. There is one right in front of us. According to our calculations, the next wave of violent expansion of the annihilation boundary will devour the Iron Bloodstar cluster in about 3 months. There is an ancient spark with a high rating but trapped in internal friction and stagnation. Eternal Siesta City. If we can join forces to awaken or persuade him to join the alliance before annihilation devours him, it will. Both increase the variables and prove our ability and value. If successful, you must formally join the alliance and abide by the basic agreement that if you fail or betray the alliance halfway, it will do everything in its power to kill you. Chunin presented a high-risk, high-reward trial target. Yongxing Xiecheng that he was one of the most difficult targets to communicate with, according to the information available, but his value was immense. And the hunt for even stronger prey was interesting. He agreed, but insisted on prioritizing the selection of some spoils. This was acceptable, but the distribution had to be negotiated within the alliance framework. And could not harm the overall interests of the alliance. A temporary alliance deal was struck. The target was the Iron Blood Star Cluster and the Eternal Blood City. Its massive, dark silver body exuded a slow, oppressive hostility, but the gaze of greed and danger remained ever present. The most ferocious predator had been incorporated into the chessboard, but had also become the most unstable and dangerous piece. On the voyage to the Iron Blood Star Cluster, our hastily assembled alliance fleet grew increasingly large, making the atmosphere within the fleet more subtle and tense. The existence known as the Void Predator was like a sword hanging over our heads, forcing the other four parties to devote some of their energy to its vigilance. However, its powerful combat strength and understanding of the potential existence of the Eternal CS City were invaluable assets. During the voyage, I strive to maintain the balance of the alliance, frequently communicating with all parties to clarify our specific plans and profit-sharing schemes for our actions against the Eternal CS City. At the same time, the exchange of technology and intelligence within the alliance deepened. The layered expansion of my 1314th train has been particularly beneficial, with the branch technology tree growing at an unprecedented speed. The star cluster is filled with active stars and dense asteroid belts. Based on the in-depth scan of the credential information and logical units, they have located the Eternal City. It is not a planet, but a supergiant artificial star system comparable to a star system, completely transformed by countless giant mechanical sections connected by orbits. Countless automated factories, defense platforms, and energy matrices operate regularly within it, emitting a cold, precise, and endless mechanical feel. However, the entire system seems to be shrouded in a dull atmosphere of stagnation and repetition. The credential information indicates that the Eternal City is rated high. The credential information status indicates deep logical infighting. The civilization consciousness subject seems to be trapped in an infinite self-examination or an ultimate problem-solving deadlock, and is extremely slow to react to external stimuli. The credential information characteristics indicate absolute rationality, mechanical ascension, and extremely high technology, but lacking active variables. The target is a rigid tin can with an extremely hard outer shell and an internal logical loop. It can be broken by external forces or injected with huge contradictions. Forcing. It is not advisable. We need a signal or event that can attract the attention of its core logic and may break the internal infighting loop. It is proposed to synchronously inject the following information into its core logical network. 1. The absolute proof of the Great Annihilation comes from Data 2 of the Ocean of Origin. Data 3, which currently aggregates the strength and uniqueness of the 5 parties on our side, raises an ultimate question that its existing logic cannot solve, but aggregation may provide a way out. How to ensure? The transfer of the continuity of consciousness and the integrity of civilization information under the reset of absolute rules. This question directly points to its mechanical ascension, the core contradiction in the pursuit of eternity. I can try injecting the uncertainty and evolutionary information off life and psychic energy as contrasting variables to stimulate its pure rationality. We can provide the profound information of civilizational inheritance and the will to protect as a reference for the meaning of existence. I can provide the information of survival instinct and the ultimate efficiency of devouring evolution as a negative example or stimulus. Okay, let's have a quintet of logical bombardment. We need to find a relatively weak signal injection node. While the fleet prepares its defenses to prevent its automated defense system from overreacting. The logical unit, in coordination with the first 344th unit soaring, found an ancient Zhongjian station in CS City's vast outer network, used to receive deep space exploration signals. Its firewall is. Simultaneously, the 5 parties prepared their own information bombs. Shunan, in charge of the first 374th unit, led the integration of top-secret truths and aggregation protocol frameworks. The logical units prepared logical paradoxes. The Green Wanderers prepared information on life and psionic energy. The Mountain Children prepared information on the inheritance of civilization. The Void Predators prepared a chaotic data set, aggressive yet directly addressing the essence of survival, under unified command. The martial arts classes enthusiasm soared, but all contained data with extremely high information concentration and civilizational characteristics. Like 5 sharp arrows, they shot towards the ancient central construction website, forcibly breaking through its firewall and flooding into the vast, star-like internal logical network of eternal CS City. The 5 information flows, like boulders thrown into a stagnant pool, instantly stirred up the rigid logical ocean of CS City. An unprecedented, colossal wave arose. The absoluteness of the great annihilation shook the very foundation of its pursuit of eternity. A paradoxical problem that plunged it into a more intense cycle of self-depletion and contradiction. The chaotic uncertainty of life challenged its absolute certainty. The profound legacy of civilization brought a questioning of meaning. The survival instinct of predators demonstrated an extreme, yet equally effective, path to survival. Countless machines in the entire Eternal Crab City experienced brief malfunctions, their lights flickering. Some defense platforms fired indiscriminately, while others fell completely silent. The data torrent of the internal logical network became incredibly chaotic. Just as the Allied fleet was on high alert, anticipating a possible total collapse or a frenzied counterattack, all the chaos suddenly receded like a receding tide, rapidly converging at a certain point at the very core of CS City. The external variables disturbed the eternal question, which remained unanswered. The large fundamental model confirms the existence of the interference theory of aggregated variables. His gaze swept over the Allied fleet, especially on the 5 trains, particularly on Shun-En's evidence of logic, the pure rationality of the unit, and the ferocious existence of the Void Predators. If the set of equivalent variables possesses the initial dynamic value to break the deadlock of internal friction, he proposed conditions to join the aggregation. It is necessary to explicitly include technical clauses in the agreement regarding the continuous transfer of consciousness and the full backup of civilization information, and to share all relevant data of the Sea of Origin. In addition, a binding clause must be signed to limit mutual resource competition and restrict it to the framework of the agreement. His conditions are clear and rational, pointing directly to its core demands, and he is wary of the most unstable factor, the Void Predator consciousness, which emits an unsatisfactory pressure. However, in the face of the silent pressure of Chun-Un and the other 3 parties, and the defensive power of the Eternal CS policy, he agrees to the constraints, accepts your conditions, and welcomes you to join the Eternal Crab Factory. Now, our 6-party Fireseed Alliance is officially established. The next goal is to locate the Great Annihilation, accurately pinpoint the critical point, improve and practice the aggregation agreement. Find and unite all remaining fire seeds that can be found, and place the most important piece in this cosmic chess game for the survival of civilization. The 6 trains, representing completely different paths of civilization, have reached the most incredible alliance in history in this cold mechanical star field to resist the cosmic cycle. The forces began to converge, and the shadow of great loneliness drew ever closer on the horizon. the signal suddenly intensified, rushing towards the Zero land, or the Allied fleet itself at an aggressive speed. Its intentions unclear. The final 100-day countdown brought the atmosphere inside the train to an extreme level of tension, but also ignited unprecedented potential. Everyone understood that this was no longer a battle for an individual or a small group, but for the entire civilization. And indeed, all the civilizations participating in the convergence, to fight for that faint future. With the support of 6 technologies, Train 1334 underwent its final transformation. Its armor incorporated the immortal rock technology of the Mountain Child and the adaptive memory alloy. Energy system formed by eternal decomposition. It integrated the life-energy resonance of the Green Wanderer and the super-efficient conversion matrix of the logic unit. The weapon system was equipped with rule corrosion warheads based on the principles of the Fury Core and the bioenergy devouring of the Void Predator. The ecological simulation chamber, under the leadership of Luo Yuya, expanded with the help of the World Tree Seed and the Green Wanderer's technology into a miniature ecological spindle covering half of the carriage. Preserving biological samples and civilization information as much as possible. Lin Zheng's life-death balance power resonated even more deeply with Chun and civilization certificate. It could briefly transform the entire train. The passengers' willpower formed a powerful, united spiritual barrier. Zishu, Xiaozhan, Chun Guoyang, Lu Cheng, and others led their respective unions in a high-intensity joint exercise, familiarizing themselves with Mingyo's cooperative tactics.